Hello there, my friends. Today I have the pleasure to show you my newest tool, my newest creation. After researching on the different profiles of blades and all kinds of blades that humankind has produced and created throughout the years, I was able to finally come up with the perfect one-tool multifunctional item that will take care of every single aspect that you need in the bush. That tool will cover everything that you can possibly imagine for your needs, for the purposes of helping yourself, taking care of, survival tasks and all that. So please pay attention, because now you see, probably the most perfect creation when it comes to survival blades that mankind has ever produced. And I am glad and truly honored to say that I came up with this whole thing. And I will probably become a multimillionaire of cutlery and of survival blades. And here it is, guys. The most perfect bush blade, bush tool ever created by humankind. This blade here is capable of taking care of hardcore tasks because it has an axe on one tip. You can actually split wood, cut bush, cut your way through heavy brush, because it has a machete on the other end. It has a little more knife, number one, for more detailed carving, and of course it has the pliers with all the other multifunction tools that it has in the handle to help you take care of smaller tasks. So I'm pretty sure that if you just bring this single tool to the bush, you will be able to take care of every single aspect, every single need that you can possibly imagine in the bush with perfection. So this blade here, differently from all the other blades that are even supposed to take care of some survival and bushcraft aspects, this one here will beat the other ones. Because this one here will actually exceed in every single aspect of bushcraft and of survival, which is something that no other blade can do. Now friends, seriously, the reason why you don't see this one single blade, one single multifunctional item that will take care of every aspect in survival and bushcraft, it's simply because it doesn't exist. Because if it did exist, it would be around there. We would know it already. Someone would have thought it out. Somebody would have invented it. And the reason why we have so many different profiles for knives, it's because each knife is made for a different task. It's always a trade-off. This is what we got to understand and we got to realize when it comes to whatever knives you're bringing into the bush or carrying with you when you go out into the bush. It's always a trade-off circumstance. It's always a trade-off situation. You will always, focus on one aspect and will have to give up other aspects just because your blade will not be able to cope with those different profiles simultaneously and perform such different tasks simultaneously. Let me give you a good idea. Okay, this is a survival knife, the BK2, excellent knife when it comes for survival. It's gonna, take care of several aspects regarding your survival. Can you do carving with it? Yeah, maybe you can. I convexed this knife. I put a convex edge here. And I'll tell you what, I've carved, like notches in fire boards in my hearth. And it was not that easy. I mean, when you got like a more, when you want to carve notches, do like, detailed carving on wood and that kind of stuff, like whittling, I guess that's what you call it. I mean, this is the knife to go for. Can you do that with this knife here? Well, yeah, kind of, but you will never be able to accomplish the same, tasks in terms of carving as you can do with this one here. On the other hand, with the mortar, you will never be able to pound the heck out of it and baton this knife against a lot of, heavy wood like you can do with this one here. You can chop, and you can, you don't even have to worry about it. You can abuse this knife here when it comes to heavy tasks, chopping, batoning, splitting wood, no problems. Can you do that with this knife here? I don't think so. I wouldn't do that. This is my opinion. So you have all these different blades that can help you if you're in a survival situation, but each one of them will focus on a specific task, on a specific aspect of survival. And other than that, I'm sorry, other than having different profiles for different tasks, we have to consider that there is a big degree of your personal taste, of your personality involved when it comes to your choices, your personal choices for your blades. Not only your blades, actually, for a lot of things related to your life, like your, I don't know, baseball, basketball, soccer team, for example, your religion, maybe your favorite color, your favorite food, your, the best, the ideal type for a woman. You go, women, for me, that's the ideal kind of woman. Well, these are all very personal opinions that will change and vary from person to person. People have different ideas on what, the ideal partner, either a husband or a wife, or the ideal knife, or the ideal toothbrush, for example, would be like. And saying that my wife is the best woman in the world, yeah, that's for sure for me. But I am pretty positive that most of you guys who have your wives are pretty glad with them, or should be, and that's what I'm saying. Each person has different tastes and different views. So other than having different profiles for different tasks, you have all that amount and degree of a personal choice involved when it comes to the blade you're carrying with you into the bush. What is the common point of all of these tools here? They all cut. So a knife is a knife. What is a knife, man? Seriously, answer me, what is a knife? A knife is a sharpened piece of metal that cuts. Yeah, but then you have 1 zillion different types of profiles and metal and heat treat and you name it. And so again I ask you, what is a knife? What's the best knife? Well, depends on what you want that knife for. It will depend on what you will need that knife for. If you were a Marine fighting in Afghanistan, Iraq, I don't know, you might have to stab an insurgent or something. You might want a combat knife. Long blade, going to stick the pig with this one here. All right, this is good. It's going to do the job. If you're in the bush, bushcrafting, just camping, not worried about Viet Cong, Vietnamese, VC, insurgents, whatever, just want to bushcraft, you go for a little mortar knife. Or if you want to play Rambo and train your survival skills, maybe you can go camping using just one tool knife like this one here, and then you'll try to do all the tasks with one tool. Or I don't know, if you're broke, just take your mom's kitchen knife, whatever knives you've got available. Right? The whole point I'm trying to make here is to show that you will have always several options for knives depending on what you want to do. Now, one thing your knife will never do for you, regardless of the type of knife you carry on you, how expensive, how good it is, who made it for you, who created that profile, one thing that knife will never, ever do for you is work for you alone. Oh, well, yeah, but that's obvious. It's you, the man, the person behind that knife that will make all the difference. Dude, I mean, I don't care if you have like a $3 knife, a $60 knife, or a $12 knife. Or if you were a caveman like Otzi, and then all you had was like a dagger like this, with a flint knife like this. Or if you just got chips of flint, of obsidian, whatever, to work as a blade. I don't care what your blade is. It's you, the person, the man, the woman behind that blade that will make all the difference. So, as my good friend Dave McIntyre, you guys know him here on YouTube as Cole Hain, as he always says, dude, don't show me your knife. Show me what you can do with that knife. And seriously, what can you do with your knife? Because when it comes to the real needs in the bush, you will have to get by with whatever kind of knife you have. I remember last year I went to the bush and I decided I was going to make a fire kit, primitive bow drill fire kit using just rocks and natural stuff. I had like a little piece of paracord for the bow drill, but that was all. And it took me like 2.5 hours to make a fire kit that was workable, not very nice looking, to carve a notch, do the drill, the hole, and it was hard work using just rocks. They were not like obsidian or any kind of proper rock for like flint that people used before. It was like granite, this kind of stuff I had available. And it was hard work. Now if I had any metal knife, any metal cutting, whatever, knife, blade, that would have saved me hours and would have helped me. Even if it was dull, I could have tried to sharpen it. So what I'm trying to say is, it's you. Just think of Otzi, the Iceman. This is what he had on him, and a few flakes of flint. Of course, he had that copper axe for heavy-duty tasks, but that's another story. When it comes to the blades themselves, he had like flakes of flint, man. It was his personal skill that made all the difference. Of course, if he had like a mortar knife, or even this $3 kitchen knife, he would be as glad as it could possibly be. Because just think of the difference between this and this. Which one would you prefer, a $3 knife or a flake of obsidian? If you were like if you lived like 6,000 years ago. So what I'm saying is, it's the person behind the flake, behind the knife, that will make that difference, not the tool itself. When we are talking about the one tool, knife, one blade, that knife will be right in the middle, in between the heavy hardcore tool, heavy cut hardcore tool, and the notch carving, more detailed slicing, cutting kind of tool. That knife, when you're talking about a survival knife or a knife that places itself as a one single tool, that knife should be in that area, in that region, because it will kind of have to reach out elements of this heavier work, like cutting, splitting wood, and it will also be able to do more detailed carving and notching and whittling, that kind of stuff. So this is one concept when you choose a knife that's going to be a one single survival tool. But honestly, guys, well, at least for me, Giuliano, each person out there who's watching this video will answer that question by yourself and for yourself. But when I'm out there in the bush, I never carry just one knife, one blade on me, unless I want to try and practice my survival skills, or I want to see how that knife performs in terms of its capabilities. But in most cases, I will have like 3-4 blades on me, whatever. I'll have like a machete or an axe, a knife, a pocket knife, a multi-tool. I have all those options, and that's okay. So what I'm saying is, what we see nowadays on TV, on YouTube, on reviews, people talking about these bulky, macho, gung-ho looking knives. as being the best survival tool, and if you want to be a real macho man, if you want to make it out, man, alive, you gotta have that knife. You gotta have the Rambo knife, or you gotta have the, I don't know, survival whatever knife. Dude, well, let's be realistic. We have to admit that knives, they have a big appeal for man. As a man, I know it. I admit, you know, I think most of men out there, you know, like blades and that kind of stuff. And, you know, some psychologists would even say that it has something to do with, you know, people, men trying to prove that they are macho guys and some kind of relation with their penises, that kind of stuff. So the bigger, the stronger a knife is, the more macho man, the more of a tough guy you are, and that kind of stuff. So you want to impress people, showing them, you know, like, I got this Marine, man, USMC bar knife here, man, big blade, this has his lines, lots of jabs in the war, and done this and that. I'm a tough guy just because I got that knife. Not really. Not really, man. And for a lot of people, that's what sells. The image of a tough guy with that big knife in his hand. That's what sells. I want to be tough, man. I want to be as tough as it gets, so I'll get one of those Rambo knives. I'm sorry, pals, that's not the reality. Although it has a big appeal for people, I mean, that's not how it works. Most of the people don't even know what to do with those knives. Just to give you guys an idea, here in Brazil, I was in a shop a few months ago, and the salespeople know me already, and there was a kid, you know, purchasing some survival knives, survival blades, and the salespeople told me, hey, go there and give them some tips. And I went there and I said, oh, what are you looking for? The kid goes, oh, I'm looking for a survival knife. And I said, oh, cool, you have that option, that one, all those options are cool knives. And then he said, no, I want a Chinese knife with the hollow handle, like the Rambo knife, and that's the survival knife that I said, that I want. And then I thought, man, that's not a very good profile for a survival knife, because, you know, it has this, and such weak points, and yada, yada, yada. Explained to him all, you know, gave him a few briefing on the weak points of that knife and everything. And I said, well, we have all these other options which are way better than that one you want to buy, and cheaper too. So why would you go for that one? And seriously, people, do you know what he answered me? Do you know what he said? He said, well, I want to buy this knife, Rambo knife, to impress my girlfriend. Dude, he wanted to impress his girlfriend with his knife. Now, what's wrong with that guy, man? I mean, seriously, I should have, of course I said, all right, didn't say anything, go for it. But seriously, if he wanted to impress his girlfriend, he should use another of his tools, you know what I'm saying, not his knife, to impress her. So this is just to give you guys an idea of how people, especially men, associate their manhood with the size of their blades, with the, you know, how macho they will look if they have that blade or that blade. Now seriously, look at Cody Landin, man. I mean, he's a very knowledgeable person, has all those survival skills, bushcraft skills. Couldn't get any more knowledgeable when it comes to wilderness survival and this stuff. And look at the size of the knife that he carries. A little more. Is he trying to prove that he's a tough macho guy? Is he trying to prove that he's a great instructor, that he is as capable as he is based on the size of his knife? No, he doesn't have to, because it's always the man behind the blade. Give a person like him, one of these bush people out there, an Indian here in Brazil, a flake of flint, and the person will do the job. So it's always the person behind the blade, not the blade itself. And it's easier for people to enter a shop and say, I want that blade. So now you got the blade. It's as if by miracle, like a magic thing, you also got the skills. No. When you buy the blade, it doesn't come with the skills. You cannot buy those skills. You have to develop them. And how will you develop them? Using either a kitchen knife, a $60 knife, a $300 knife? I don't care. I don't care. Again, like as Max says, don't show me your knife. Show me what you can do with that knife. That's what matters, if you ask me. Nowadays, if you go out to the bush, depending where you are, if you are in Europe, in the States, depending what part of those places where you are, you might need just an axe for heavy duty, cutting, and just one of these small pocket knives, like a Victorinox with a lot of different small blades, like little saw and stuff, for all the smaller carving, whittling task kind of thing. You don't need much more than that. Here in Brazil, if you have like a machete, the length might vary depending how thick the bush will be, but it might vary from 10 inches to 20 inches. And if you have a machete and again a small pocket knife, you got everything. You got all of your needs taken care of. You got all of your survival bushcraft aspects covered with those two blades. You don't need that. You don't need much more than that. Sometimes I like to go to the bush with a $3 knife. That doesn't mean that it will be the only knife I'll have on me, but I'll bring it and I will use it, and I'll try to do as many tasks as possible with this to see how it works. Sometimes I want to do this. So seriously, it doesn't matter if you have, again, flint dagger, $60 knife, or a $3 knife, or maybe just a little piece of a flint. It's always you, man, the person behind the blade, behind the tool, behind the knife, that will make all the difference. It was just a little talk that I wanted to have here with you. I hope I haven't offended anybody by talking openly about this. I hope you got the joke at the beginning of the video with the bulky, crazy thing that I came up with. It was just an idea that I had to try to make it more interesting for you. Sorry about the long talk. I know lots of people don't like long videos, but I'm discussing these things with you. I'm not a native speaker. I will probably take a little bit longer, use a little bit more words to describe something that a native speaker could describe more easily, but I'd like to, and it's hard work, make two versions of these videos. Portuguese in my own language, in which I can express myself much more clearly, much more fluently and fast, and a second language video in English when I know that lots of people out there will be watching, and native speakers and everything. But again, I think it's good to establish this connection, this friendship. I get to meet lots of great people out there from the bush brothers, people that I love as bush brothers nowadays, and that's it. Again, cell phone. So guys, I hope you appreciated this little talk we had here today. This was Juliano Toniolo from Brazil, and I'll see you in the bonus. Isso é coque de mineração, ó.